A Manchester prisoner named Joe Outlaw staged a protest on top of the prison for 12 hours. But why? Outlaw chanted "No IPP" and chalked the words on the roof of the prison. What exactly was Joe protesting? Imagine being sent to prison with no real idea of when you would get out. Now imagine you were sent to prison for a small non-violent crime with a minimum sentence that can be extended at any time. These are called IPPs, which stand for Imprisonment for Public Protection. Contrary to the name, they don't protect anyone, but destroy so many lives. In 2011, Thomas White received a 2-year IPP sentence for stealing a mobile phone. 11 years later, he's still inside with no idea when, if ever, he'll be released. He spent so much time in segregation that he now finds it hard to relate to people. His sister Clara thinks the prison system isn't equipped to deal with her brother's mental health. Tommy Nicol was jailed under the same IPP sentencing rules for stealing a car. Nicol began his sentence at Warwickshire Prison HMP Rye Hill in 2009, with his expected release to be 2013. He was informed by the parole board that he should access a therapeutic community, a group-based approach to treat the effects of mental health and substance abuse. Despite applying for 2 therapeutic communities, Nicol was unsuccessful. He also requested a psychological assessment and mental health support. It was years before he received any kind of assessment. He was bounced around from prison to prison, not knowing when he would be released. On Monday the 21st of September 2015, he took his own life. IPPs were introduced in 2005. They were supposedly reserved for the most extreme cases, yet 8,000 people received them. That's 8 times the intended number. IPP prisoners were given a tariff, which was the minimum amount of time they had to serve. When this tariff was up, their release was in the hands of a parole board. But parole boards can put impossible obstacles in the way of release. Bristol anarchist Black Cross wrote last year, at each parole board hearing, new hoops can be created that the prisoner will need to then jump through. For example, a prisoner might do everything the parole board directs, and then 2 years later at the next hearing, the parole board might say, you still need to address X behaviour and therefore do X course. This leads to a continual process of imprisonment where goalposts are repeatedly moved. In 2012, several IPP prisoners took their cases to the European Court of Human Rights. The court found that these sentences were arbitrary and thus unlawful. Soon afterwards, the UK government abolished the sentence. However, this was never applied to existing IPP prisoners. Almost 3,000 of them remain behind bars. The Ministry of Justice has said that Joe Outlaw will face further punishment for his Strange Ways rooftop protest. The parole board is set to review his sentence on the 25th of April, and it remains to be seen how the protest will affect his application. But whatever happens, his actions were a brave stand against an unjust sentence that has ruined countless lives. His protest and his voice broke through the wall of silence and challenged the government intransigence that surrounds IPP sentences.